My name is John J. Kremm. I was in the United States Navy from 1972 to 1978. I grew up on Long Island, originally from Brooklyn. I went to school on Long Island in Brentwood. Graduated Brentwood High in 1972. In 1972, I decided to go into the service. I enlisted into the Seabees, and it was a 6-year tour because I wanted a certain amount of schooling. So I went into the Seabees. I went to Port Hueneme, California for A school. I did my basic training in Illinois, and then I deployed after A school to Vietnam. I didn't know anything about Vietnam. I just knew that they said we should be there and that they needed help. And when I got there, you know, it was just like a big guy pushing on a little guy and just taking advantage of those who had less, whether they had less money or less education. It just seemed like there was a few chosen people that were pushing and hurting everybody. I was in Vietnam approximately about 1 month, and we were working on a road and there was some fire. We were receiving some fire, and I picked the rifle up and I shot Vietnamese out of the tree. Continued to work. A couple days later, we're working and there was some fire again, and I picked up a weapon and I fired and I shot the guy off the side of the rock. With that, this gunny sergeant, McAdams, came up to me and said, "Come with me." And he had me fire at a target. And he said, "Where'd you learn to shoot?" And I said, "Boot camp." And he said, "What'd you get?" I said, "Expert in marksman." He said, 0500, tomorrow morning, have your bags packed, you'll be on a helicopter. I says, "What for?" He said, "You're going back to Coronado, you're going to train with SEAL team to become a sniper." I said, "No, oh no, I'm not going to go be a sniper because I came into the service to be a builder and work as a carpenter." With that, he informed me that I was a property of the United States Navy and that I would do what I was told, or I would spend the rest of the time at Treasure Island in a 6x5 cell. So with that morning, the next morning at 0530, I left, went on a helicopter, went back to California, went through rush training in Coronado, California for snipers under the supervision of SEAL Team 2. I was TAD with SEAL Team 2. I went back to Vietnam and I served with the Naval Mobile Construction Battalion. I shot people out of the trees while they were building, and I never really did any more construction work after that point until after I had left Vietnam. And as far as the country of Vietnam, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful place, and people were very persecuted. I was happy to be there to help. I didn't want anybody in my backyard hurting my mother and my sister, so I was very, very solid and felt good about being there. You know, a lot of people have different attitudes that, oh, it's bad, they lied, the government, this and that, but we needed to be there. The people were very docile, they were very devastated, they were being bullied, and you couldn't tell who the good guy or the bad guy was, because the guy that was shining your shoes or bringing vegetables into the camp was the same guy that was writing maps at night and you were getting shot. You know, Americans got a bad name. They got a bad name, and they were called all kinds of names over there. But unless you were kneeling next to your brother with his guts hanging out, or looking at your buddy who just died because some 12-year-old girl just shoved a knife in him, crying that she wanted help, it's hard to say what's right and wrong. But you would have to have been there to understand what it was. Watched a lot of people get shot, and I wondered why I didn't. I cannot count how many times I was kneeling down in the mud praying that, I would make it home. I made it home, and I have no complaints. My interaction with coming home was not bad. It wasn't a ticker-tape parade, but I mean, they told us to take our uniforms off. When we got off the bus and go to the subway and stuff, people would throw rocks or spit at us or whatever. But I didn't have I didn't get any kind of that. And I got involved, with my parents and my family and the neighborhood, and everything went well. I don't have any regrets as far as being in the war and coming home. I've been hurt a couple times. I was shot, stabbed, burnt, but nothing, I'm alive and I'm here and I'm holding a job, so I'm grateful for that. And I belong to the 40 and 8. I belong to the American Legion, and we do a lot of stuff with the veterans at the Stony Brook Nursing Home, also with the Masons, also with the CSEA. I retired from the town of East Hampton as a welder. And I was the president of the union, so I'm involved with the CSEA, and we do a lot for the Stony Brook Nursing Home in Northport and stuff like that too. Everybody says we shouldn't have been there. Everybody says that the war was a bad place. Everybody says the president was wrong. Everybody says they lied to us. But the truth of the matter is, if you love this country, you do what you have to do to keep it free. Even if you don't like the president, even if you don't like his ideas, you still have to stand behind the policy. And if you don't like it, then you just vote next time for somebody else. And if enough people don't like it, then he won't be president. But whether you like the president or not is not an issue. The issue is that you are willing to serve the country no matter what. I am proud to have been a veteran. My family are veterans. And I've got no complaints. A lot of people have different mental attitudes about it. Me being a Vietnam vet, everybody questions, oh, well, how come you're stable? How come you don't, I have some post-traumatic syndrome. I do have some mental anguish. My son was killed in Iraq. So it's a little hard for me to understand who lives and dies. When my son was killed, I felt ashamed because I made it back from Vietnam and he didn't make it back from Iraq. But the best thing was that a letter that I got from him said that they were making a difference. They were making a difference. So I have no complaints.